Welcome to Year 13 Information Evening. I'm going to take you through some useful techniques to practice towards your son or daughter's forthcoming exams. Pre-public exams will take place in November and they need to be ready. The more assessments that are practiced, the easier it will be later in the year. The main emphasis is on learning key terms and formulas and knowing the structure. In November, students will sit one paper only at this time due to the release of Paper 3 and the coverage of Theme 4 not yet complete. The business exam at the end of the year comprises of 3 exam papers. Paper 1 comprises themes 1 and 4, Paper 2 comprises themes 2 and 3, and Paper 3 is a case study that is a pre-released paper in February. All papers are 2 hours in length. Paper 1 is worth 35% of the final grade, Paper 2 35%, and Paper 3 30% of the final grade. The week beginning November the 16th, they will sit a combination of Paper 1 and 2. Students must focus on learning the key terms from Year 12 and 13 and formulas also from Year 12 and 13 theory. Alongside this, exam structure is vital to enable students to pick up the most amount of marks. 4, 10, 12 and 20 markers are all structured using DBLT, define, because, leads to and therefore. The 8-mark structure in Paper 3 is the only different structure, which is DBLH, define, because, leads to and however. The first exam paper will test students' knowledge and understanding of market and people and global business. The paper will ask questions from across Year 12 and 13 theory. Therefore, students must ensure they revise content from all topic areas. The slide shows what both themes cover, and students also have a year plan showing all topics as well as PLCs to check their learning against. Paper 1 is a written examination and is worth 100 marks. They must explain the theory very well. They must remember for the structure. Both sections look for context. This means putting case study information and wording into the answers. For example, if the business was a gym, then they could answer the question mentioning words such as weights or fitness or exercise. But also they would add clear evidence from the case study to evidence their points. There'll be lots of calculation questions, so a calculator is important. I will provide students with one, but if they have their own and they're more used to this, then that would be better to bring along to the exam to use. They must learn many formulas. They will not be given these. Paper 2 covers Theme 2 and 3. These cover managing a business activity and business decisions and strategy. The slide shows the full content of the 2 themes. Theme 2 covers finance and has formulas that must be remembered. Theme 3 is very heavily weighted on accountancy, and again formulas must be remembered and practiced. Similar to Paper 1, Paper 2 awards 100 marks. Again, there will be context marks awarded. The paper will consist of both calculation questions and extended writing answers. Sections A and B each comprise one data response question broken down into a number of parts, including extended open response questions. Part 3 is different to the other 2 papers. It's a pre-release which comes out in February and could cover anything. It relates to an industry such as the car industry. Students' focus should be on researching towards this industry from February onwards and then remembering some facts such as the business with the highest market share in that industry. Paper 3 context will be drawn from local, national and global contexts, which are all dealt with in themes 1 to 4. The question paper will be in 2 sections and will have either the 12 or 20 mark question relating to accountancy, whereby students have to calculate their answer prior to analysing it. Active Teach is our online resource and is accessible to students in college or from their home laptop or computer. To log in, please follow the information in the PowerPoint. If you or your child Googles Active Teach, the Pearson link should be clicked. Then log in with this username, which is all lowercase, and then the password again is all lowercase. I will now take you through some useful tips to revision. It is important that your son or daughter revise as well. The focus I would suggest is on key terms and formulas, because if they understand the key terms, this will ensure that they have a good knowledge and understanding of answering the question given and therefore will pick up marks. Structure is also just as important, and we will continue to practice this in class time. It is important they are comfortable with their equipment, therefore their own calculators would be useful. On the other hand, if they do not have their own calculators, there are calculators provided. A ruler, pencil, pen and highlighters are vital. Highlighters will allow them to make evidence from the case study stand out in the exam. That will make it easier to put case study information in their answers and be awarded higher marks for doing so. The structure as previously mentioned is very important. Each mark is structured in a different way. Students have practiced this in class time as well as for homework. 4-mark answers warrants DBLT structure, which means answering the question for the D by defining, B explaining the reason and giving an example, and then the LT by showing cause and effect and therefore what would be led to for further development. The 10, 12, 20-mark structure is the same as the 4-mark structure but more paragraphs. Both 10 and 12 expect advantages and disadvantages with conclusions which contain AJIM, AJIM structure which contains it depends and a recommendation. A useful technique is to use flashcards. These can be used by adding a key term on one side and a definition on the other. This way, the student can be tested either by a friend or parent or even independently, as they cannot see the definition if it's on the opposite side to the key term. Blank flashcards are available from college, or they could just use old note paper if they have some at home. By adding colours makes it even more effective to them remembering the meanings. Practicing exam answers is vital. We practice in class, but it's beneficial to continue practice in the spare time. Practicing after college or at home means that students realise that time is important and they can ensure that they get answers completed in a given time. This is usually linked to the mark awarded. For example, a 12-mark question should be answered in 12 minutes. When students add a conclusion, they must assess their answer and justify which is the most appropriate outcome, but then also add an it depends as well as a recommendation in their answer. A conclusion needs to be detailed. More marks are given to good evaluations that are justified. And finally, it is important to continually be tested. Parents, carers, friends can all help to support exam preparation. By being tested, the student can realise what they keep forgetting or what they need to work on more to embed the knowledge. They have a tracker with all the theory that has been covered in class, and they can use that to identify which topics they find more difficult in order to focus further on. The assessments are important both for staff to understand where students are at and what areas are necessary to be revisited in further detail, but also for students to understand the stage of progress. Therefore, it's important they are supported to ensure they engage in this process. If they require anything at all to support the preparation for forthcoming exams, please just contact me on harrington.f@trinity.mpcat.org.uk. And can I just thank you for taking the time to support your son and daughter at this time.